So 2023 has been a pretty interesting year so far in the real estate investing world. Things that were sure bets and layups in previous years kind of aren't really anymore, right? So what I thought I would do is talk about the one factor that I've seen consistently make the biggest difference in executing successfully, whether it's in a buy and hold strategy or a fix and flip or development. So I'm going to talk about that one factor. We're going to get after it right now. What's going on, guys? This is Lior and welcome back to my channel. Now, before I get into the meat and potatoes and talk about that one factor that I think is so important in 2023, two super quick things, guys. Number one, if this is your first time on my channel, first of all, welcome. Second of all, make sure you smash that subscribe button for me. I'm still putting out tons of new videos every single week, talking all different facets of real estate and multifamily investing. And number two, guys, if you're thinking about doing anything in real estate, you want to deploy capital, but you don't necessarily want to be that frontline person, whether you want to invest in apartments, you want to invest in a fix and flip project, whatever, me and my team get calls from you guys watching our videos here on this channel, and we absolutely love it. We can help you figure out whether some of our projects might make sense for you to invest in. So if that's something you're looking for, make sure you hit up me and my team, and we will definitely help you out. So let's get right into it and talk about that one factor to me that I think is so important in 2023 to make sure you're nailed down in any of your projects, right? And this is, I think, really holds true whether you're buying apartments for buy and hold strategy, whether you're buying something to fix and flip, whether you're buying raw land and developing it. The big thing that I think is so critical is the quality of the location you're investing in. Now, look, you might be like, hey, Lior, that's the most obvious thing you could have said, but not really, right? Here's the deal. Over the last couple of years, I've seen investors locally here in Boston, and I've heard plenty of stories across the US, people kind of bought whatever because everything was kind of trading, right? I mean, the markets have been insanely hot the last couple of years. Obviously COVID, the COVID market's really hot, the pre-COVID markets too, if you guys remember, the leasing markets, the sales market were really competitive when the rates were really low. So honestly, everything kind of moved, right? I mean, if you put up an apartment, typically, if it was in a good enough city, you'll probably move. If you flip the home, you put it on the market, chances are it was probably gonna move, right? Because the markets are just so hot. But 2023, I think, is really different, right? I see myself online, apartments that are sitting longer and longer that are not in the best locations. I see development projects, I see fix and flip projects, right, that go on the market and don't move as quickly because they're just not in prime locations. So, and I'll actually give you guys a couple of examples from my own portfolio that really demonstrate this point, right? So let's talk about first the buy and hold side, right? So on the apartment side, I actually have a great example. I obviously invest in Boston, right? I just saw in some of our lease outs, we had apartments that, I thought were decent apartments. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think they're the best ever, but they're solid. But they are located in an incredible location in a really desirable city on a really quiet street, a couple of minutes away from transportation. And we put those on the market and those leased out within less, a couple of days. I mean, they went off super quick. Again, nothing special about these apartments. I mean, they were solid, they were clean, but they weren't new renovations or anything like that, and they ripped off the market. Now, I also have some projects that I was leasing out too, and some of them were, not in as great locations, I'll be honest, right? I mean, they just weren't in as desirable neighborhoods. But, some of these buildings were buildings that I've gutted over the last 12, 24 months. So everything is brand new kitchens, new baths, open concept, central air, in-unit laundry. I mean, it's the works, right? They were fully gut rehab. And honestly, some of them I struggled moving a little bit. I mean, they didn't move as fast. I mean, yes, I leased them eventually, but it took a couple of weeks. I really had to fight and really push the rental agents to get us more applications in. So it was not the easiest thing. So right there, you can kind of see the stark contrast, right? In years past, again, everything would have kind of leased out pretty quickly, not a lot of problem. But now I think more than ever, people are super particular, right? I mean, yes, the leasing markets are hot, but tenants, I see them as being more picky. They want to live on the best streets. They want to be in the places that's convenient for them, and it is all about location for them. And I'll give you guys an example on kind of the development side too, right? So I recently helped someone to finance a project, and kind of execute a little bit too on a condo development. I was a little nervous, especially in the fall of 2022 as the project was moving on, because the markets at a time were kind of a little bit weird. There was a little bit slowdown. That was just right when the rates were really going up and kind of spooking a lot of buyers. So I was a little nervous, but the one thing I knew that would that would most probably save the project is the quality of the street, right? I mean, the project was located in an amazing city, in an amazing neighborhood, and honestly on an incredible street, right? I mean, the street was beautiful, like super wide, leafy, quiet. All the houses around it were like perfectly manicured, really, really desirable neighborhood, right? I knew that would kind of be our saving grace. Now, the project ended up just selling this past spring, so obviously the markets have picked up since, but again, that quality of location really made that sale a lot quicker, a lot smoother. People were super interested because, and I heard the feedback, right? I mean, they just loved the street, they loved the neighborhood. It was exactly what they wanted. And, same thing, kind of on the vice versa side, I see some development projects listed on the market that are, not in the best locations. Developers were kind of buying whatever, a couple of years ago. Now they're coming in and trying to sell off the projects, and some of them are struggling. They're not moving these units for the prices that, I think they should be. They're sitting longer on the market, so there's a lot more risk to that sell-off on these kinds of projects. So I think you really, really got to be super cognizant today, right? If you really want to minimize your risk, both on the leasing side or on the sales side, again, depending on your strategy, you really want to understand, where am I investing? And you got to get micro, right? Like you want to, it's not about, oh, I want to get into the best city. It's not about, oh, I want to be in the best neighborhood. Like, yes, those are important, but it goes even more micro. Like you want to be on the best streets, right? You want to be on the most convenient streets, the most desirable streets, maybe that are the quietest or that are closest to transportation, depending on the neighborhood dynamics that you're investing in, right? But that's what I'm really, really particular about today, right? Like I want to be on the best possible streets, because if I don't, I just see a lot of potential risk in, longer time on market. Again, whether it's leasing or selling, you might get discounted. You might not get that same comp rent or comp sales price that you thought you would. I think that's going to be a continued trend over the next 12, 18 months as we kind of navigate through this kind of, a little bit of market volatility that's going on in the market. So that's my opinion. That's one of the biggest factors that I'm looking at today in all my deals. Of course, if you guys have any questions, comments, if you disagree, you think I'm crazy, if you think I'm right, make sure you put them in the comments below, and I will definitely help you out.